Good morning, everybody. It's Friday. Hope you guys had a great week. Today, I'm going to talk about varying skill levels and why sometimes, if you're not automatically good at things, and it's sometimes, not it's not always a disadvantage. Sometimes it's actually even better. Um, there's a famous quote that goes, the enemy of the best is the good. So, I'm a firm believer in that, you can do things that you work for. Like a great example is, if you're not great at, say, programming, but you have other people who are just naturally good at it, if you, really just take the time and consistently work at it and grind and, keep at it, sometimes you could be better than some of those people that had it good because they get complacent. It comes easy to them. They just show up, You sometimes have that opportunity to be even better. It takes a lot of work. I'll tell you that. I mean, I know there's a lot of times where, I'm pretty average at a lot of stuff and, I bust my ass and just keep working at it, try to get better and better and better. And, I end up being better than people, not like in a, I'm better than you kind of way, but, like skill level, sometimes I just, I get to that point, but it's not because that I, did anything or I should say didn't do anything different. It's not that like I went through and, cutthroat about it or did anything like crazy. Like I just worked, I knew things I wasn't good at. I grinded at it, a lot of people think you always need to go to college for some things. Like, don't get me wrong. It's helpful. It definitely gets you prepared for a lot of things. It will give you a really good knowledge base. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking college at all. Because, for me, I wish I had an actual, I completed college and finished a college education. But, there's so many things that, if you don't necessarily need to be, have, some sort of programming degree, but you just need to have some knowledge of it. There's tons of stuff out there. When I'm, for me in marketing, I looked to just read articles about, content marketing, and I watched video series that were courses, online course videos that were teaching people the concepts of online and, content marketing. And, I just got, that knowledge base from that. When I started here, I fairly certain I've talked about my, I'm a very big proprietor of, Google Analytics. I knew nothing really about analytics when I started here. I knew of it, and I knew what some things did because of YouTube analytics when I used to run my old YouTube channel. But I didn't really understand, how it worked or anything like that. I didn't have any other knowledge of it, which I started when I was going to marketing. Aubrey here gave me said, you should probably get your GAIQ. That's probably a really good start, something you'll probably need to know, and it'll help you with a lot of concepts. I was like, cool. I went, I grinded, I got that thing done in 4 days. Not that it's overly hard, but there is a lot of content to go through it. I mean, it's a pretty long exam. You got to recertify it for it once a year. But I went from knowing really nothing about analytics, in the, nitty gritty kind of in-depth stuff, just knowing what analytics were, to being now, I work with our, my team. I work with our developers. I work with our QA department, teaching them analytics and what we look for, what we're reporting, all of these other things, which is super cool. And I went for that and that was I don't know, 3-4 months of work. Now I have my GAIQ. I've got all of my AdWords certifications. There's 4 or 5 of them. I got a digital online sales 1, 2, and I did all that. And granted, they're not college courses, but that digital sales one, it goes through a lot of great concepts. You get to learn, it tells you about planning meetings, rehearsing for your meetings, interviews, all that kind of stuff. That's all important skills. And one thing it doesn't cover in there that I think is a really great interview tip, Aubrey actually taught me this one, is that when you're in an interview, remember, you're there to see if the job's the right fit for you and not the other way around. I did that. I started doing that, and you know what? Like honestly, you feel so much more powerful in there because you have that control at that point. So it's kind of neat, kind of neat way to look at it. But kind of back to the point here is, right now you may be at your job and you may feel like everything's kind of made up for you. You don't really have, people get stuck in ruts, right? People get stuck in the rut of, I'm never going to move up. I'm stuck here. There's people who are more qualified than I am and blah, blah, blah. I'm here to tell you that, you know what, you need to knock that shit off right now because there's so many things you can do. And sometimes, it's definitely going to require like maybe night classes or something. But if that's what you want, like you need to fight for it, right? Like it's a give and take on that sort of situation. There are resources out there that you can take advantage of, but you got to be able to give it your time and kind of put in the work for it too, right? So, maybe at your job right now, you need to brush up on Excel or something or some sort of software. There's tons of like tutorials on there. I mean, it's the beauty of the YouTube and this digital era is that like there's how-to videos on absolutely like almost everything. So that, you just got to be willing to look for it. And like there are a lot of places like that do courses that are like accredited and whatnot that like could do night school. I mean, it's not always the most affordable, but like if you can afford it, those are always great options. Excuse me. Like for me, like I come in early, I do this, and then like I give myself a good hour-ish of learning before I start my day, and all of it is done like all my analytics stuff was done through like Google's like online analytics academy, and like besides that, like with programming and stuff, like I just watch videos. like right now I found for PHP there's an entire like 38 video beginners like how to be proficient with PHP like from the ground up for people who don't touch programming. So it's there's a lot of things out there for that. So never be discouraged. There's always options. You just got to look for them. Not saying that people who feel like there's no resources aren't correct, because I mean maybe there aren't resources for what you're trying to do, but it doesn't mean you don't try to look, right? Like don't just assume that there's nothing out there. So that about wraps it up for me today. I feel like I didn't talk about much. It feels like the time flew by. But make sure you guys like my Facebook page, subscribe to the channel if you want to get more updates and everything else. Again, I'm going to be pumping out like 3-ish to 4 videos a week. So, that's all I got. Have a great Friday, guys, and I hope you finish off the week strong.